Very warm welcome, children. Good morning to everyone. After a week gap, we are going to meet once again. Today, unit number 21 in biology, we are going to look after nutrition and health. What is the learning objective? Students, you are going to understand at the end of this lesson different types of nutrients, their sources, functions, deficiency disorders of vitamins and minerals, and also you are going to understand the knowledge about the different types of food preservation, identify the adulterants in the food, explaining the role of food quality. Let us enter into the chapter nutrition and health. Food is a basic necessity of the life. It may be defined as any substances of either plant or animal origin consumed to provide nutritional support for an organism is defined as food. Food, it contains essential nutrients that provides energy to our body, and also it helps in normal growth and development, repair the worn out or damaged tissues, protects the body from various diseases. Different types of nutrients we are consuming in daily life, they are classified into five major groups. When we consume our diet or in our food, in which basically five major groups of nutrients are there. So what are the classes of nutrients? The classes of nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, fat, vitamins, and minerals. These are the different types of nutrients which are present in our diet in different quantity. In different quantity, children. So we are going to look after each and every nutrient one by one. So first, the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen it has. Their sources for our carbohydrate, our diet in which major portion is carbohydrate. We obtain carbohydrate from the dietary sources of honey, sugarcane, fruits, whole grains, starchy vegetables, and rice. Whole grains and starchy vegetables, rice. They require about 150 to 200 grams per day average. The next one is proteins. Proteins are derived from plant origin as well as the animal origin. So proteins, legume, pulses, nuts, soya beans, green leafy vegetables. The common protein source and very simplest protein source are egg, milk, and other dairy products. We require approximately 40 grams per day. The next one is fat. We obtain a large amount of fat in the name of fatty acids from both plant and animal origin. Egg yolk, saturated oil, meat from the animals, we obtain fat. These are all the major foodstuffs in our daily diet. The next one, we will start from the different class of nutrients, right from first carbohydrates. These are carbohydrates are commonly known as organic substances which contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in the ratio of 1:2:1. Carbohydrates are the chief sources of our energy. So the energy which you obtain very quickly from the simplest carbohydrate called glucose. So we call carbohydrates as chief sources of energy to our body. Different types of carbohydrates, we classify them based on the number of sugar molecules present. Okay, glucose, sucrose, lactose, starch, cellulose are the examples of carbohydrates. Glucose, they contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1. It's a very simplest carbohydrate. Clear? Now, the classification of carbohydrates based on the number of sugar molecule present in each group. Right? So, what are the different types of carbohydrates? They are namely monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Mono, we used to say single. Monosaccharides or monosaccharides, they are called simplest carbohydrates, contain only one glucose molecule. Glucose, fructose are the very good examples. Next, disaccharides. When we hydrolyze disaccharides, they split into two sugar molecules, or they split into two monomers of simple sugar. They are called disaccharides. Sucrose, maltose, lactose are some of the disaccharides. The next one, polysaccharides. Poly, numerous. Many monomers of glucose units arranged as a chain-like structure is called polysaccharide. The simplest, if you give example for polysaccharide, starch that obtained from the wheat and rice. Starch is a very good example for polysaccharide. In plant cell wall, the polysaccharide is seen called as cellulose. Secondary wall in which lignin, pectin, hemicellulose are some of the polysaccharides. Okay, children. So we discuss different types of carbohydrates based on the number of sugar molecules present in it. Now let us continue with monosaccharide, glucose, followed by proteins. Proteins, they are the essential nutrients and commonly called as building blocks of the body, because proteins are responsible for the growth and repairing of body cells and tissues. So in our body, repairing the cells and tissues require proteins. Proteins generally composed of amino acids. They are organic in nature. Proteins are made up of amino acids. They composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in addition to the nitrogen. So proteins are generally nitrogenous compounds because they have a nitrogen in it. Proteins are made up of amino acid, we said. Amino acids are very important for our body. We obtain proteins from different sources. You can see the sources of protein: pulses from the plant origin, soya bean, chickpea, green gram, red gram, country bean, kidney beans, okay, and the different types of pulses which provide the protein. Animal source from which milk, egg yolk, white yolk, meat, fish, almonds, nuts, okay, milk from the dairy product, milk as a dairy product, which are the important sources of proteins for our diet. Eggs, one of the simplest protein from the animal origin. Proteins are composed of, or proteins are made up of amino acid, we said. What are called amino acids? Amino acids are organic substances. They are the constituents of proteins. There are 20 different amino acids are there. There are 20 different amino acids are found. Amino acids are categorized into two groups: essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Non-essential amino acids, our body can be synthesized because we have a precursor. That means the source for the amino acids to synthesize by our body is already present. So non-essential amino acids cannot be depends, or non-essential amino acids need not depend diet to produce by our body. But essential amino acids are not like that. Essential amino acids, they can be produced by our body only with the help of diet, because non-essential amino acids and their precursors present only in the diet. So non-essential amino acids, those cannot be synthesized in our body directly. It obtained from the diet or food. Some of the non-essential amino acids are, you can see, pronounce it proper: phenylalanine, valine, threonine, tryptophan, methionine, leucine, isoleucine, lysine, and histidine. And histidine. So these are some of the essential amino acids require our body is obtained through diet only. Next, fats. Like a carbohydrate, protein, fat also one of the type of nutrient that present in our diet. Fat in the diet which gives more energy. Fat in the diet gives energy. 1 gram of fat or lipid which gives 9.1 kilocalories approximately. Compared to the carbohydrate, fat gives more energy. Fat, they are essential to maintain the cell structure in living organism and involved in metabolic functions. Fats are derived in the name of fatty acids. Essential fatty acids, non-essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids cannot be synthesized our body. They are provided through by the diet. Our brain, nearly 60% is made up of essential fatty acids, children. Essential fatty acids required in human nutrition. Okay, what is the example for the essential fatty acid? Omega fatty acid. This omega fatty acid is normally obtained from fishes. Fish protein obtained from the fish meat is contained, or fish meat which contain more omega fatty acids. It's very useful to maintain the cardiovascular functions. Omega fatty acids. Then we back to the minerals. Fat, proteins, and carbohydrates are organic substances. Minerals are generally inorganic substances, but which is required by our body as an essential nutrient to the organism to perform various biological functions. Minerals are required either large or very small quantity. In human body, minerals are stored in the name of teeth, or stored in the name of bones, tissues, blood, muscle and nerve cells. Bones are made up of calcium carbonate. Teeth, in which calcium carbonate and calcium oxalate is. Blood, in which hemoglobin made up of iron. Muscles, in which potassium is very important. Sodium is very important. To conduct the nerve impulses, sodium and potassium is very much required. To synthesize thyroxine, in our body, iodine is required. So different types of minerals are required by our body. They are obtained through by the diet in our daily consumption. Minerals are classified into two major types, namely micro minerals or trace elements, macro minerals, another one. So micro minerals and macro minerals are the two types based on the requirement by your body. Micro minerals are required by your body as trace amount, so they are called trace elements. Sulfur, iron, chlorine, cobalt, copper, zinc, and other microminerals such as iodine, selenium is required. Iron deficiency in the blood cause what? Anemia. Iodine deficiency in our body cause goiter in our body. Iodine is very much important for the thyroxine production. The next different sources of micro and macrominerals you will see. Macrominerals, they are required by our body as large amount. Calcium, potassium, sodium, magnesium are some of the examples for macrominerals. They require in grams. In daily diet, we want to take the minerals in large quantity are called macrominerals. Calcium, potassium, sodium, magnesium are required. Some of the sources of minerals from our diet. What is the source for the particular mineral and their functions and disorders you will see. Calcium generally obtain large amount from the dairy products such as milk, cabbage, eggs, fish. They are very much important for the formation of bones, enamel of teeth, clotting of blood also, controls muscle contraction. If the deficiency of calcium lead to the bone deformities, poor skeletal growth, and osteoporosis in adults. Osteo means whole. Osteo means bone. Porosis means opening. The bone becomes spongy and brittle in adults. The next one, sodium. Sodium is normally found as common salt. It maintains a fluid balance involved in neuronal transmission, that is called nerve impulses to transmit. Muscular cramps, nerve impulses do not get transmitted if sodium is in deficiency. Potassium. Potassium, which is rich in banana, sweet potato, nuts, even in the whole grains. It regulates the nerve and muscular activity. If the potassium deficiency is seen, muscle fatigue, nerve impulses cannot be transmitted. The next is micronutrients. Iron, spinach. Iron is a micronutrient required very small quantity. Rich in spinach, greeny leaves, whole grains, dates, broccoli. In animal origin, fish and liver, in which they are the important source for the hemoglobin. If iron deficiency is seen in our body, leads to anemia, notable one. So you want to consume more iron instead a required amount. You need not consume iron rich food always, but daily requirement in which in your diet iron must be present. The next, iodine. Iodine very much rich in seafoods, milk, and it is also present in the normal table salt which is iodized. Iodine directly influences the thyroidal functions, especially the formation of thyroid hormones. If iodine deficiency is there, the person will be suffered by goiter. That is nothing but swelling in our neck region. Okay, so these are the different types of micro and macro minerals and their sources. So in this session, we discuss what's mean by food, What is the composition of food? What are the different types of nutrients? Nutrients are classified into five major groups, namely carbohydrates, proteins, fat, vitamins, and minerals. Okay, we are going to continue minerals in the next class. Thank you, children.